Hi, I know it's been a while since I've last seen you guys, but a lot has happened, so let me introduce myself. It is me, Juan Films here. Welcome back to the channel. It is so good to see you all again. And one of those things that has happened a lot recently was that I went on a 2 week road trip across America. So the biggest thing for why we have started this road trip, this 2 week road trip, was because it was something that my brother and I have planned for a while, and he was living in New York for a bit, and then so he got a new job in Arizona, and so we decided to just say, hey, screw it, let's go do a road trip. Let's stop at a bunch of cities that we've never been before. And I was so down to it, and I wanted to travel more. And yeah, I just kind of went along with it, and because I've always wanted to travel more. I wanted to visit new places, visit new cities, all that cool jazz. But at the same time, it's gonna take me out of my comfort zone and just explore new things, see things that I've always wanted to see, and just pretty much exploring more on the world around me rather than just sit here inside and just feel sorry for myself. Even though I haven't been doing that, but what more can I say? So enjoy this special presentation of my road trip. You will see a bunch of photos and a bunch of videos that I have taken in preparation for this specific video on YouTube for my return of Juan Films. Let's get started with 3 days in New York. So, after spending 3 days in New York, we actually went to drive straight to Pittsburgh. We actually drove around where the Steelers played and where the Penguins played, and just visiting around downtown Pittsburgh. It was super nice. It was definitely better than I thought it was going to be. And then, we went to a coffee house in after the first night that we spent over there, even though we were only there for one night. And then we actually visited the National Aviary, which is basically an exhibit full of birds. So you will get to see a bunch of penguins, flamingos, all that jazz. And if you like birds, yay, that's great. Let's enjoy Pittsburgh.
This guy's the hero that Gotham deserves. Look at the bets that he's paying.
So after spending a night in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh was awesome. I loved it. We actually drove through Ohio. We actually spent some time in Columbus, but we didn't really spend much time over there because we were just at the public market, just exploring some restaurants, eating and whatnot. Um, and then we actually drove to Indianapolis, and Indianapolis actually exceeded my expectations because I thought for a second it was just going to be another like normal city, but Monument Circle was awesome. I liked the lake that's over there. And I also love the coffee shops that they had. some of the best coffee that I've ever had. I always drink like an oat milk latte or coconut milk latte, but I had the oat milk latte and some gluten-free snacks over there too, gluten-free desserts that I thought were very delicious. But I also rode a Lime scooter around Indianapolis. So, in case you guys didn't know what the Lime scooter is, so it's basically those electric scooters that you see on the street in which you just pay to grab it, and then you can just ride around for how long that you paid for it. I rode on that thing for like almost 2 hours. I almost busted my ankle because I didn't brake whenever I wanted to stop, and then I just, basically jumped off the scooter before breaking it and almost busted my ankle because of it. And my ankle was hurting for a bit, but it's better now, thank God. And then after Indianapolis, we actually went to Missouri, spent 2 days over there. The first night was in St. Louis. We actually got to visit the Gateway Arch. That thing was tall. It was so freaking tall. And it was just awesome to see it. And we actually went to go visit the museum, talking about the history of the making of the Gateway Arch and just basically everything that happened before the building of it and just the modeling of it as well. And then we visited the Botanical Gardens in Missouri, which is close to St. Louis. And then from there, we drove straight to Kansas City. We had Kansas City barbecue. Oh man, that thing was awesome. I had a whole pork brisket plate with baked beans and fries, and I also had a beer too. And I was super stuffed after eating that. And then we went to go visit Union Station. And then we actually went to go camping. I did not sleep at all that night because it was my first time camping in a long time. And it was very hot and humid like it is here in Georgia. And I put up a rain tarp like an idiot. I don't know why I did that. And because of the humidity, I was not able to fall asleep at all. But then the next morning, we got to explore the World War I museum, and that thing was pretty cool to check out. And, it was nice to learn about our history as well. So after Kansas City, we actually drove over to Wichita, Kansas, but we didn't really do much because we were pretty exhausted and doing just a bunch of things nonstop already throughout the entire trip, just stopping in cities and driving around, eating and whatnot. And so Wichita was just kind of our break. We actually went to go see Fantastic Four First Steps. I loved it so much. And I will probably be putting up a brand new MCU tier rankings sometime soon in the near future. But after spending a night in Wichita, we actually made a whole 9-hour drive from Wichita down to Taos. Taos is such a pretty place. And then we actually stopped by the state line that crosses over to Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. It's just a small little pole like in the middle of nowhere. But like driving through Wichita and Oklahoma and whatnot, it's literally nothing but cornfields. But Taos, New Mexico was such a very pretty place. It was just a bunch of adobe buildings just everywhere and just exploring a whole bunch of things. Downtown Taos is really nice. The hotel that we stayed at was also really nice. Shout out to the historic Taos Lodge Inn. They're awesome. And then we actually drove over to Santa Fe. And then we also crossed over to like Albuquerque to visit Walter White's house. That was pretty cool. But like in Santa Fe, we got to, just explore a bunch of art, sculptures and paintings made by, popular Santa Fe artists based in Santa Fe. I know I said Santa Fe twice, but who cares? And it's really nice. People say that it's like terrible just because Albuquerque is like dangerous, but y'all should check out Taos and Santa Fe. They're both super pretty and super great to look. And then after spending 2 nights in New Mexico, in Taos and Santa Fe, we actually drove over to Arizona because that was where my brother was gonna stay at. But actually, when we were on the way to Santa Fe, we did actually stop at the Great Sand Dunes. That thing was awesome as well. As you can see, I literally felt like I was in a scene of Dune Part 2, just watching the entire sand dunes. And so we actually went over to Arizona. We hiked around a bunch. We went to Flagstaff first thing just so I could help my brother move in his things into the house that he's going to be staying at. And then the next day we hiked around Sedona. And then we actually had In-N-Out burgers. Shout out In-N-Out. I love In-N-Out. One of my all-time favorite fast food places. And then we drove over to Phoenix because that's where that was our last stop on the road trip before I go back to the airport. And the next day we hiked around Phoenix for a little bit. It was just nothing but dry and deserts and whatnot. And then I went back to the airport and got myself a good old Shake Shack burger. Alright, y'all, check it out. Sedona, Arizona is one of the best places I've ever been to. Look at this over here, guys. So pretty. Whew. So pretty. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy, and if you guys need any recommendations from me of any of the places that you guys have seen in this video, please comment down below. Don't be afraid to ask. Or if you guys have any recommendations for me for any time I want to travel in the future, you can also definitely put it down below in the comment section. I would love to travel more and just pretty much explore the world and just get out of Georgia sometimes. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And be on the lookout for more content. Juan Films is coming back. Yes, I will be putting up a video of like where I've been and plus putting up a whole bunch of new things. So I'll see you guys later.